Welcome to Holy Heroes. Today's holy hero is Alban, who lived in the early 3rd century in Verulamium, a town that was in Roman Britain, and today is near a city named after our hero in Hertfordshire, England. According to the historian Bede, he served in the Roman army. Although he was a pagan, Alban hid a priest in his house during a persecution of Christians. The priest, who prayed and kept watch night and day, made such an impression on Alban that Alban began to receive instruction from him, converted to Christianity, and received baptism. Eventually, it came to the ears of an unnamed, impious prince that Alban was sheltering the priest. The prince gave orders for Roman soldiers to search Alban's house. As they arrived, Alban put on the priest's cloak and clothing and presented himself to the soldiers in place of his guest. The priest later came to be known by the name Amphibolus, which means cloak in Latin. Alban was brought before a judge, who just then happened to be standing at the altar offering sacrifices to pagan gods. When the judge heard that Alban had offered himself up in place of the priest, he became enraged that Alban would shelter a person who despised and blasphemed the gods. Because Alban had given himself up in the priest's place, the judge sentenced him to endure all the punishments that were to be inflicted upon the priest unless he would comply with the pagan rites of their religion. Alban refused and declared, "I worship and adore the true and living God who created all things." Alban's profession of faith is still prayed in churches today. The enraged judge ordered Alban to be scourged, thinking that a whipping would shake the constancy of his heart, but Alban bore these torments patiently and joyfully. The judge, seeing that Alban refused to deny his newfound faith, gave orders for Alban to be beheaded. Alban was led out of Verulamium, coming to a fast-flowing river that could not be crossed, believed to be the river Ver. There was a bridge, but a mob of townspeople, eager to watch the execution, had so clogged the bridge that Alban and his captors could not cross. Filled with an ardent desire to arrive quickly at martyrdom, Alban raised his eyes to heaven, and the river dried up, allowing Alban and the soldiers to cross over on dry land. The astonished executioner cast down his sword and fell at Alban's feet, moved by divine inspiration and praying that he might either suffer with Alban or be executed for him. The other soldiers hesitated to pick up his sword, and meanwhile they and Alban went about 500 paces to a gently sloping hill which was completely covered with all kinds of wildflowers and overlooked a beautiful plain. The historian Bede observes that it was a fittingly beautiful place to be enriched and sanctified by a martyr's blood. Alban was executed at the summit of the hill. However, immediately after delivering the fatal stroke, the eyes of the second executioner fell out of his head and dropped to the ground, along with Alban's head. Alban is the first recorded Christian martyr from Great Britain. After hearing of the miracles that accompanied Alban's martyrdom, the astonished judge ordered further persecutions to cease and began to honor Alban's death. Alban has become the patron saint of converts, refugees, and torture victims. What can we learn from heroic Alban? We can, in humility, protect others and lay our lives down for them. We can bear threats or punishments joyfully and patiently, keeping our focus on Christ. We can profess, "I worship and adore the true and living God who created all things." For the greater glory of God, I hope you can join me again next time.